First of all, thanks for the opportunity in speaking on this. To Deputy Troy, I see him over there. I want to wish you luck in your. I was speaking to you ordinarily, but I wasn't speaking to you in the Dáil. I want to wish you luck in your as a new minister. Brexit. Look at the uncertainty that's out there is ferocious at the moment. Whether people like it or don't like it, whether you live in a city or in a rural area, we must realise that food in both Ireland and England is transferred by lorry right around and by ships over and back. I think what we need to make sure that we understand is that in the line of, say, 60 to 70% of our beef goes to the UK. It is alarming yesterday to see that the likes of Asda have stated that they're buying all British beef, which would be not a great thing for the Irish farmers. I think, Minister, we have to make sure that we put basically the funds in place, whether it's state aid or not, or whether the EU goes blocking us or not. We have to support the agricultural sector right through, be it beef, be it dairy, be it the sheep sector. And while we have something like, I don't know, 300,000 to 400,000 lambs coming down across the border, some of them actually come from the UK, with the agreements that's in place there, obviously that appears to be going to happen. But for our beef to go across to England or to the UK, if there isn't a deal done, there will be tariffs. And look at it, the price of beef at the moment, the farming sector cannot withstand the likes of that. I think that government intervention has to take place to make sure that we keep the farmers in this country viable. Also to the business communities in this country, especially in the border areas, we have to make sure that we put a footing under them, because not alone are they going through one torment in the line of what is highlighted earlier on, in the line of the COVID situation, but this is a double whammy coming at them in the line of Brexit. We have the timber industry at the moment. Unfortunately, last Friday, for the first time in 30 years, there was a mill in this country that hadn't timber. But we must realise that an awful lot of our timber goes to the building industry in England, and for pallets as well. And we have to make sure that we keep a foot under that. There's 12,000 people obviously employed in that sector. The haulage industry and the row on, row off, you know, for our new models of where we'll be going, are we ready in the likes of Rosslare? Are we going to put in, and I know that there was a review being done earlier in the year by the EU, and I think that Rosslare is going into a core node in TNT, but is the likes of Galway Port going to get help? Is the likes of the infrastructure going to be put in place under, say, the core network for the likes of the TNT funding from Donegal right, what we call the Western Arc, and indeed through your own constituency, Minister, I've often advocated from Mullingar to Castlebar that we need the infrastructure to make it linkable for traffic to go either way. A note of caution, last week we had an IBEC Zoom call in the west of Ireland with the large, especially the pharmaceutical side of things, and other businesses in the west of Ireland. And they have pointed out, Minister, a major problem that Ireland is actually losing investment, FDI investment at the moment, where the CEOs or the people that make the decisions aren't coming to this country because obviously there's a quarantine scenario and all that, and they are being facilitated. And I'm not saying that they should be in contact or whatever with people. What I'm saying is we need to bring a system in that facilitates for these people that are spending the money, that they will be facilitated to get through airports without contact and be able to go from A to B to where the business that they'll make the decision on, because it has been bluntly stated to us that they will not be able to we won't be getting FDI investment that other countries are getting it at the moment because of regulations in place. Minister, when we talk about businesses, and I spoke to a business today, and it seems that the banks are just putting people through the ringer in the line of, the state guarantee, the 80% guaranteed, the COVID credit guarantee fund. I spoke to a business today, and I think a decision has been made with them for them tomorrow. But it was with AIB, and we bailed them out. And they want you basically to do a scenario. You do a business plan, then they'll ring you again, and you have to do another business plan. Then you have to do a business plan that will nearly say, well, I'm not going to have any business next year. Well, like, no one in business can foresee for more than 6 months now at the moment with the way things are. Not a mind to go looking into a glass bowl for the next year. And I think, Minister, that the government needs, when you are prepared to stand 80% behind something, that some of these people in the credit committees of the banks that are making the decisions, and especially the state-owned bank, which is AIB, that they seem to be just putting people through hoops and hoops and trying to nearly not give them money. And I think that, we have to keep businesses going. You have to take risks at time. No one knows how we'll be in the COVID situation or the Brexit situation in the next 6 months or the next year. Through no fault of anybody, things are happening, and we have to make sure that we protect the jobs that's there. Because if we don't, obviously, what comes in goes out, and if you're not getting the money in taxes, rates and other things like that, well, obviously, on the other side of it, if you have more people unemployed, it will be a problem. Definitely, in the likes of the coach hire has been talked about by Deputy McGuinness, and the hospitality sector, they have got a hammered in this year through both COVID and, look, if Brexit, if there's a lot of rules and regs coming in, it will be problematic. The other thing I would say is that we have to be very careful, Minister, that the prices of things are going up all the time. And you have to be competitive to be able to, survive in this world. And last week again, the PSO levy, when we talk about, the new great world that we're going to enter, the PSO levy, I think it's €54 more electricity has gone up. And now we're talking about climate action again, bringing in carbon tax for, basically it's rural people that's going to suffer with that. And while everybody is willing to make an effort and help in every way, we are dealing with crises at the moment. We're dealing with Brexit. We're dealing with COVID. And now we're talking about bringing in a climate action bill that we will basically screw people more in the rural areas if we're going to go up €6 or €7 a tonne this year and next year. And when you're under pressure, you have to pull back on certain things. And I think that the health and the wealth of our people in this country is more important than deciding that we as a nation are going to save the world, but when others are basically giving the whole lot the 2 fingers. And I'm not saying that we're ignoring it, but you cannot turn around and leave people, like, do we want an Ireland that we're looking out a half door and we're drawn the dole and we're have no work, but look, we said that we're a great country and our climate mitigation and that our levels have come down and down? Or do we want to keep creating work? And we're coming out of a tough time from 2010. We are now in the middle of a very tough time, and we have to make sure that we put the incentives in place for businesses to continue right around this country. But we have also got to make sure that there is linkage between the likes of the Department of Transport and Agriculture and the different departments to make sure that we are as Brexit ready as possible. Because, people talk about Brexit ready. How do we solve it if there's a heap of lorries banged up together and food within them, and then shortages here and there? So I would ask you, Minister, to take the points I've brought up into account. I think that this debate is well worthwhile. But at the end of the day, we don't know what's going to happen. We hope that it will be resolved, that there will be an agreement reached. But if it's not, we have to be prepared to step in for the people of this country and help them in their hour of need, because they have put their shoulder to the wheel over the last number of years.
Thanks, Deputy.